Alrighty, I'm hoping everyone can hear me okay. Hoping, great, all right. So hello, yes, welcome to the webinar. My name is Jonathan and I'll be representing Flinders University today. We're going to be covering a few things regarding SATAC applications, students, what to expect, transitioning between Flinders University and high school as well, and just some general kind of quick tips. So thank you so much for attending today. First and foremost, I would like to acknowledge that Flinders University is on Kaurna land, and we recognise the traditional owners, both past, present, and emerging. We do also have a few campuses around both South Australia and the Northern Territory, as well as some rural locations, some regional locations as well. So we are obviously in a few different ranges of areas, so we'd like to acknowledge all of those too. Now, what to be covered? As I kind of mentioned earlier, we are going through things like how to order your preferences, all the way through to what happens if your score isn't quite exactly what you thought it would be, as well as what kind of dates to work around, and what happens if you don't get the offer you want. So there's a few different, I guess, key areas that we will be covering. Please keep in mind if you do have any questions throughout the entire presentation today, just to put them in the chat box on the right-hand side of your GoToWebinar screen, and I'll try and answer them as best I can. Cool. So the main difference really between, I guess, Flinders University and high school is the kind of timetabling that you're used to. So as a high school student, most students are aware that they are going to be there just every day between Monday to Friday, right? Usually it's about 8:30, sometimes 9 o'clock, and you'll be there from 3 till 3:30. So it's a pretty standardized format, and it will just keep happening every week or every day, week by week, pretty much for 13 years, right? It's a normal standardized format. You will get a few options depending on what you're looking to study in years 11 and 12, and for the most part, you're there all day with support from teachers, and you get drafts proofed for you, and there's sort of a bit of time frames that you can work on your assignments during school hours. On the flip side of that, university is a lot different in terms of how we go about teaching students as well. So first and foremost, you'll actually be studying what you enjoy learning about, which is always handy. At least we really hope you're studying something that you enjoy learning about. Next there, you're going to have a lot of time to study part-time and to socialize at the same time. You won't be at uni every day. That's a probably definite score unless you're looking at doing something like medicine. Otherwise, you really won't be at university every day. It should be about 3 times a week, right? You'll have quite a bit of independence, and there is a first-year mentor available, but you're not going to have that same one-on-one support that teachers will be giving you. And of course, deadlines are a thing you're going to have to learn as well. So if you are a student that needs to, I guess, organize themselves correctly to make sure that you're getting your assignments in on time, that's something that you should definitely be working around as a university student. Okay, so I guess why Flinders? That's a really important question. A lot of people come through and ask, why would I study at Flinders, whether it's Bedford Park campus, whether it's the city campus, whether it's the Tonsley campus. So Flinders University, generally speaking, is a fairly student-friendly university in terms of how we've structured our, I guess, our courses and our classes in our campus. We do try and make sure that it's a big community experience really for all of the students that are enrolling and applying at Flinders University as well. We do have some on-site parking, obviously, and we have a fantastic graduate employment rate that we're very, very proud of. We are generally focused on students' careers as we get to the tail end of the degree too. So we do have the careers team, and they will walk you through a few different things like the Horizon Professional Development Award, for example. Generally speaking, we'll try and get you as industry ready and as career ready as we can before you head into, I guess, your pathway, depending on what it is. So we hope it's obviously the area that you studied. Now, there are some new courses that we have coming out as of 2024, so please keep your eyes on the horizon for these, but that'll be the Bachelor of Performance in Acting, Directing, and Theatre Making. We do also have the Bachelor of IT, expanding its major areas through data analytics, business information systems, and machine learning. And then we have a Bachelor of Allied Health Sciences. Now, the Bachelor of Allied Health Sciences shouldn't be confused with the current Bachelor of Health Sciences. So the Allied Health Sciences are more regional locations, in the occupational therapy, physiotherapy, and speech pathology spaces. We did already have those in our health science suite too, so don't get too confused there. And we've also included surveying in our geospatial information systems, and Sport and Active Rec is now taking over for the Bachelor of Outdoor Education. Now, We do have a campus in the city, and that is something else I would like to highlight. And all of those courses that I just highlighted just a moment ago will be available there, excluding the regional ones. But the city campus will be open as of January 15th. So you'll be able to come through and check out what there is in the North Terrace space. Now, that's going to be next to the Parliament House / casino area. So it's sort of in between those blocks there. It should be visible, obviously, to you now if you go to the city. It's a very large skyscrapering black stumpy tower, and it's going to be fully operational as of February. Now, in terms of actually getting into the course that you want to get into, there's a few different ways that we do this. So I guess for your Year 12 grades webinar, I'll be focusing a lot on school leavers because that's what hypothetically you should you be attending this webinar. So obviously your selection rank, which is your ATAR, everyone should be very familiar with this at this point, the guaranteed entry ranks and your regular entry ranks. We do also have something called the uni test. Now, the uni test is a multiple choice aptitude skills based test, and it is sittable at your school. All the testing should have basically finished at this point in time, but it will generate you a new basis of entry to get into a course that you want to do. We also have the Research Project B pathway. Most students will be completing the Research Project B at this time frame. So if you've completed your research projects in Year 12, we can give you a 60-40 split, so 60% based on your ATAR, 40% based on your research project score. If that total is better than your ATAR, we'll use that as well. The last one that I want to mention, and we may have a slide about this in a little bit later, it's the Foundation Studies program. So the Foundation Studies program, which I think actually is back here, it's on the Adult Pathways list. The Foundation Studies program is a course that you can do for free through Flinders University. It's available in 3 formats. So you can do it across a 7-month program, a 4-month program, and a 5-week intensive. Now, the 7-month program, depending on how you're looking to structure it, is probably the longest version that you can take, but it's the least time intensive. So in terms of your time commitments per section, it's always 2 hours per day. So even if you're doing the intensive program runs Monday to Friday for 5 weeks. And again, 2 hours per day. The 4-month program will run for 4 months twice a week for 2 hours each session. And then the 7-month program is 2 hours once a week for 7 months. Now, the intensive specifically, if you're looking to apply for 2024, will be running from the 14th or 15th of January, and it'll be completing on the 16th of February. So you should still be able to complete the intensive program and then apply for a course for 2024 semester 1. So you can begin obviously with all of your friends as well. That there is a really, really unique and probably the best way for you to generate yourself a new basis of entry for a Flinders University course between now and next year. Now, the application process has 3 general requirements. So when you apply for a degree, you'll be applying for something that may have a prerequisite. So your prerequisites is just topics within school or your subjects within school that you have to have completed to actually physically receive a course offer. Now, most of the time, this usually comes to our engineering courses, which is our math method or mathematics specialist maths. There is also the Bachelor of, testing my memory, I'm pretty sure it's the Bachelor of Analytical and Forensic Science, which is one of the sciences as well. I think it's physics. Now, student knowledge, we just assume that you know the course content and that you've done it in Year 12. If you haven't done like an assumed knowledge version of a degree, so let's say, for example, you're looking to jump into a Bachelor of Science and the assumed knowledge for that was biology, right? We'll expect that you would have completed biology in Year 12, but you can still receive an offer for it. However, if you haven't, you just will be behind everybody else for the first sort of 8 to 9 weeks of the course. Additional entry requirements tend to relate specifically to areas like drama, where you have to do an audition, teaching capability statement of the education topics, screen and media, that kind of stuff there. They have a few additional entry requirements too. So depending on what you're looking at doing, I can kind of individually assess them for you if you've got any questions regarding those. Now, we've got a couple key denotions for timelines. The one that's currently relevant to everybody in the webinar at the moment is the next one, which is Wednesday, the 3rd of January. So that's the change of preference deadline. Should you be looking to apply for a degree currently at Flinders University, you need to have everything lined up and locked in by that deadline. If you don't, we'll be sending offers out in the main offer round on the 11th of January, and you won't be able to change your preferences until after that deadline. So if you've made a decision, you really need to commit to it by that 3rd of January there. Otherwise, everyone's going to be receiving their offers on the 11th of January. And then finally, the second main offer round is on the 24th of January. Now, in terms of how to order your preferences, we have 6 preferences in total for your SATEC application guide. You should really rank them in order of passion, not the difficulty or the selection rank of the course, and you don't have to use all 6. Now, what we mean by like use some for backup options and things like that, you probably have heard that term quite a few times. This is sort of a general sort of rule of thumb. So we've got law and legal practices, for example, and then we know that we want to do the honors program and the regular program. And then, well, you know, we definitely want to do law. So we're going to apply for law at Adelaide, and then we're going to apply for law at UniSA. So we've got as many law courses as we can as our first 4 preferences. Should we unsuccessfully get into law, we can always put down our university law and legal studies pathway, which is obviously Flinders Uni. We know that that's going to transition directly into law and legal practices. So we put that as our next possible option. And then our last one is law and societies. If we don't get into the pathway, we can start in law and society, and then we can transfer into our degree later on. But that's effectively the idea. Now, you don't have to use all 6. Obviously, this particular instance we did just for the sake of the example. But you could have very easily put law and legal practices down and then the diploma of laws, and that's all. And that's completely fine as well. So there's something called adjustment factors. Many people call these bonus points. We have tried to make it adjustment factors for many years. Students sometimes refer to it as bonus points still. You get up to 9. So you'll get 5 for your UniSA, so your SA Universities Equity Scheme. So that's just an individual basis. So it might be you are on a means tested income, you might have a disability, there might be an injury, there might be a cause for concern during your year 12, but they're individual. So it doesn't matter if you're at a high socioeconomic school or a low socioeconomic school, you may be eligible for these points regardless, just based on personal circumstances. The next one there is a university subjects, which is about language, literacy, and mathematics. So if you were to complete spec maths, math methods, English or English lit, or any other language other than English, you'll be receiving up to 2 points for each one to a maximum of 4, which gives you a total of 9, right? Now, the 9 points that you get do not stack directly onto your ATAR. They're part of your university aggregate score, which is a little formula that the SATEC application people use, I guess, at the end of your year that determines your ATAR. And then it gets added to that total aggregate, and then a formula is used on that number, and then it produces your ATAR score. So the ATAR scores you should now be able to see on your SATEC application as well. So if you don't know what your ATAR is and you can't find that, you can call us too. Now, I will make a little note there. You've obviously read the asterisk to the bottom that the bonus points applies to everything. So all 9 will apply to everything, but only the individual bonus points, so the 5, will apply to the clinical sciences Doctor of Medicine. Right, so when it comes to actually getting your offer, so you'll receive your offer again on the 11th of January. When you receive it, you'll have up to 4 different responses that you can put. So you can put, I accept this offer and don't wish to be considered for any higher preferences. So just, you're in, great, you're happy. The next one is likely if you receive a preference that's 2 to 6. So you want to do this course, but you'd like to do preference 1 if you can. That won't negatively affect your ability to receive an offer further down the line for SATEC. There's reject this offer and wish to be withdrawing your courses for all applications within Flinders, within SATEC. That just means that you no longer want to study at university at all. And then I reject the offer but wish to be considered, generally speaking, is students change their mind and they no longer want to do the course that's on their SATEC application, but they still want to do the course that's higher than their SATEC application. So those are kind of your 4 options. Now, after you accept your offer, you will receive an email from Flinders University saying, welcome to Flinders. We'll send you something called a FAN, which is your Flinders access number. And that's basically going to be your username and login for all things Flinders moving forwards from here. So make sure that you either hang on to that email, or you write down your FAN, or you memorize your FAN. Now, you can do a few things with enrollment. Obviously, you can just enroll online by yourself. Lots of students do this. You can also receive some support over the phone. And if you choose to do that, we have an enrollments team that's on hand to help you out for this. And then lastly, you can come on campus and receive some one-on-one support from the Enrollment Support Center, which is your Flinders Connect desk. They'll also help you with things like your Flinders ID as well, and your student card as well. Now, in terms of fees and costs, these are the kind of equivalent full-time study loads depending on what you're looking to study. These are federally chosen or government chosen, so we have no control over these, unfortunately, but this is the current set of band systems that you've got. So It's not exactly perfectly indicative because you might have something that's in management, but then you might choose some electives in mathematics. And obviously those two topics are going to cost you different amounts. So it'll actually reduce the total yearly expense of your degree. On the flip side of that, let's say you're doing a teaching degree and you choose some business topics, well, it's going to inflate the cost of your degree as well. But this is generally speaking kind of what you're looking at in terms of the fees for your domestic students. Now, after university has started, obviously, if it's not what you thought, and it's maybe a bit overwhelming, or it's a bit too hard, it's a bit too fast-paced, or it's not hard enough, or you want to add more, or you want to do more, obviously you can contact the university and we can help you out, right? So please speak to any of the team, either at Connect or the recruitment team, about your options with us, whether or not you want to start part-time, what kind of date the census dates is, whether or not you want to withdraw or enroll into more topics. And if you're looking to change courses as well, we can obviously help you with that in terms of an internal transfer request as well. But there's quite a lot of range of support services available, hence this slide. So the main thing here is don't get too, I guess, worried or concerned once you've started university. We do tend to have pretty much a support service for mainly everything, whether it's academic, whether it's personal, whether it's career orientated. We do try our best to support you up until you leave the doors here at Flinders University, and we really want our graduates to have the best success that they possibly can. So that's definitely something that I guess we really try and push as hard as we can here at Flinders. And I know that most universities will say the same, and we always try our best for students, etc. But at Flinders, I think the kind of environment that we teach you in really is unique. And I think if you come to the campus and you kind of experience that for yourself, and you go to the lectures and you go to the tutorials, it's really quite evident, especially through the staff members and the support services that we have. Now, in terms of what you can do as a parent, there are a few things to help your student along. Obviously, you can create a quiet study space at home. Generally speaking, this is pretty handy just to remove distractions. I know a lot of students tend to say, oh, I like having background noise, or I like running something in the background, but realistically, it's just nice to kind of have a zone where you can really just retreat if you need to. Obviously, helping develop a study routine. Most students still have this from year 12, so that's pretty handy. And just identifying busy times during the semester. Usually that's exam period, and that's going to be around kind of your mid-ish to early July, or that's going to be your October timeframe as well, or October, November. So yeah, there's a bit to take in. You might have a fairly volatile student potentially, depending on the kind of emotional roller coaster that they're experiencing at the time. It's mainly deadlines. If the student has a good idea and grasp of when the assignments are going to be due and when they need to be producing those assignments for, it should be pretty smooth sailing, I'll be completely honest with you. Now, in terms of your timelines for applications, just so you get a bit more of a visual representation here, obviously we are at this kind of mid-December mark. So school results were just released, obviously. You can ring us to discuss any options or bonus points should you need to, but most people should be able to access their ATAR with their bonus points included at this point. After this, and kind of between now and Christmas, there's not too much to worry about, to be completely honest with you. At the start of 2024, as I said, we've got that last date to change preferences on the 3rd of January. So the university will return back to operating hours on the 2nd of January. So we are still available up until the last day to change your preference, should you need some help. Mid-January, you're going to receive your offers, right? 11th of January is when that's going to occur. If you don't get the offer that you were expecting or that you wanted and you are close, hold off until the second offer round in January, which is going to be the 22nd or the 23rd, is what I believe we said. And then if you still haven't received an offer after that deadline, give us a call and we can tell you how your application's going and where you're sitting in comparison to everybody else. Okay, so we do have that availability to help support you there as well. Wonderful. That is the end of today's presentation. If there's anything else that anyone wants to ask or anything that anyone wants to consider whilst I've got you, please chuck them in the chat now. Otherwise, if I don't hear from anyone within the next couple of minutes, I'll close the webinar down. Otherwise, thank you so much for coming today, and I do appreciate your time.